Hello, I'm Adriana and welcome to my channel. We're going to do a little bit of oracle cards, a little bit of tarot cards, as well as my astrology grab bag today. So I'll be doing a spread for you with a bigger kind of collective message, and then for those signs that need a little bit of clarification or more specification, that's what we'll be asking the astrology grab bag for. So whatever cards come in there that correlate with certain astrological signs, I'll be extending the message for them in this same reading. So, I was told to do an oracle card first. Higher ground. I love this card. It's so pretty. In whatever situation you find yourself in, it's time to pull back and literally take yourself out of the equation, get a different perspective. Maybe take a walk in nature just so you can get yourself to a better place. When we start to get too close, and I'm going to say in the nettles or in the brambles and taking everything personally, we lose sight of what that higher picture is. And we lose sight of where everything fits within that picture. And especially when we are emotionally triggered, we lose sight of that higher ground. Okay, we take things personally. The store is out of what you want. You take that as a personal affront rather than just looking at, well, maybe I don't actually need to get that this week. Maybe there's something better for me. We need to just be looking at this from a different place. So with that in mind, let's start your spread here. Okay, so we're going to look at spiritual lesson. Okay, spiritual lesson, root of the cause, where you are in regards to the spiritual lesson, catalyst for change, and then one card to represent you kind of in general. All right, Ace of Pentacles comes out for you in general. So we're at the building block, we're at the foundational place. So interesting, this is on the ground, but this is higher ground. So what you do now has ramifications for later. And I'm noticing something interesting. There's a connection. It's like they're wanting us to connect heaven and earth. You see the light behind here? And then there's light down here right underneath where the earth is. We've got these two kinds of lights. So what you're doing now, look at from two perspectives. Look at what you're doing in your physical world, but how does it also relate to your soul? How does it relate to the bigger picture? How does it relate to a couple things? Growth, where you see yourself in a few years. It's not just looking at the next step, it's looking at the implications of that next step. I watched this talk. It was actually kind of an interview with Jane Goodall the other day, and Damien Mander, I believe, was the other person. But she was talking about looking at conservation from a very global perspective. She was saying, you can't do things like just shut down coal factories and then celebrate because the coal factory is shut down. She says you also have to look at the people that are working there that are going to be out of a job and needing to support their families, and possibly because the coal plant was shut down, be forced to make choices that aren't the best for themselves or the community or the earth. So she says, instead of just trying to do one thing, look at the whole thing. So if you want to shut down the coal factory, look at it, what other jobs could be available for these people. Make sure you have that lined up for them. Make sure you have that all in place before you start doing the one thing. So it's looking at the context of what you're doing, not just the one thing that you're doing. All right, so lesson from Spirit, Queen of Swords, Five of Swords being the root of this, Ace of Wands being how you feel, and Three of Cups being the catalyst for change. Okay, so where do we start with this? Spiritual lesson first, Queen of Swords. Okay. So always receiving information, always looking for higher information. Again, look at the lovely colors here. We've got all purples, which is all crown chakra. Look at the choices you make. Look at the information you get. And ask yourself how it relates to more than just yourself. if you are focused on just yourself right now, you're in the wrong mindset. And it's funny because that's exactly where we are, Ace of Wands. But actually, I take that back. Ace of Wands is talking about divine inspiration and how to act. But this is also just divinely guiding the way you're thinking about something. And what do we mean by that? The more connections you can see between what's going on with you and what's going on in the world around you, or what's going on in situations, what is the bigger picture? That's really what you're being asked to look at. Queen of Swords. Aquarius energy looks at the community. It doesn't just look at the experience of self. So I'm really kind of saying the same thing again. It's very related to the higher ground, but where this is affecting you is how you're thinking about it. Make sure you're always thinking in a more global perspective, in a more connected perspective, rather than just what's happening right here. Okay, now catalyst for change, 3 of Cups. Again, the connection. So not just being out there by yourself, self. And I forgot to talk about root of this cause, so let's talk about that because that will illuminate this for us. 5 of Swords. The reason why you may be feeling cut off from this bigger picture, or perhaps unwilling to trust in the bigger picture, in your guides and your higher self's plan for you, is because you feel like whether you've won or lost the battle, it's still happened at your expense. And what's interesting here is we've got a purple sky, but it's very muddy. It's got kind of taupe in here, which when you mix taupe and purple, it comes out kind of brown and icky. We've got pure purple in here. We've got purple and a little bit of that yellow, but it's arranged in a way that it's glowing within, whereas here, it's just making it murky. So you may feel like, well, I had the best intentions, or I was doing something because I thought it was the right thing to do, but it still didn't turn out right. And so you're feeling a bit jaded, actually. And this feeling of being jaded is clouding the way that you're looking at your next steps forward, when really you have this pink here, you have this new beginning here, you have the chance to start over. And so rather than thinking about your best way forward, you're just wanting to leap into action and say, okay, well, then I just need to take any action. Any action is better than no action. But the cards right now are encouraging you to pause for a moment, step back and say, okay, but what is the best perspective I can have here? What's the bigger picture? What's the most loving, connected action? What is the energy I'd like to have coming back to me? Whatever energy I'd like to have coming back to me, that's what I need to put out. All right, let's go into the grab bag for a second. Who is going to get an extra message? All right, it's going to be 3 messages. We've got Aquarius again, the Fool, Leo, we've got Queen of Wands, and Mercury, Magician. What did I decide? Actually, we're going to have 4 messages because this is Gemini and Virgo. Okay, message for Aquarius first. All right, 2 of Water. This is about reconciling yourself within a relationship. Understanding the truth about yourself within a relationship. Where have you been honest? Where have you not been honest with yourself? But it's also understanding that this relationship is trying to show you a truth about yourself. So the relationship itself is a teacher at this point. Not even the other person necessarily. It's not like the other person is a mirror for you. Although that may be the case, it's just not the message I'm getting. It's more that the way you are in this relationship is teaching you a really fundamental truth about yourself. So this really makes sense because if you're finding yourself emotionally triggered or again feeling in that spot of loss, the bigger picture here is you're learning something crucial about yourself. You're learning a crucial divine truth. And look at these colors. They're all relating. An essential divine truth about yourself that is preventing you from having a higher connection to your higher self. Okay, so look at what this relationship is bringing up. Look at what is being triggered within you, and look at how then asking yourself what you need to do to resolve this. Okay, now for Leo. Oh, I'm sorry, bottom card, Elder of Earth. Funny, because we got this with previous reading with an Aries energy. This is about staying focused for you, Leo, and staying focused, kind of eye on the prize, keeping yourself looking ahead. And also, you know, it's funny, when I did my dissertation, I was told, you know, your project has legs, meaning there were more things beyond just completing the dissertation that I could do with it. I feel a similar thing for you here, Leo, that it's not just about completion, that the Elder of Earth is going to help you. It's an energy that comes in that's going to help you see more ways that this project could grow. So it's like it branches off into more ways. So keeping your mind open, keeping that bigger perspective and that broader focus. So it's funny, it's like focus, but also your focus is going to do this. In being like this, it's also going to go this way. But you have to focus on getting to your next stage. Look at her staff. Can you see her staff? It's got all these little branches off of it. So it's really exactly what we're talking about, that when you're focusing in this one direction, then you're going to see all of these ways that you're going to grow your project even more. You're going to grow this area of your life even more. It's a very abundant message, and I think a very positive one for you. Okay, Gemini next, and I'm also going to pull out the card for Virgo. I'm going to kind of read these together. Because the Magician came out, it's almost like these cards need to be read together. Mercury rules both Gemini and Virgo, so I'm going to do a little crossover here. Okay, so here's for Virgo, and then bottom for Gemini. Ace of Water, Three of Air, Ace of Water. Okay, so Virgo, be really, really honest with yourself in whether you're being true to yourself or not. If you're not being true to yourself, you are attracting other energies that are also not true to you. And so then you will experience this as being like stabbed in the back, stabbed in the side. Someone who is supposed to be on your side that it just wasn't. But all of that is coming from the way you are with yourself. Are you being honest and true with yourself? Okay. This is also about making sure that you're not expecting. There's a tendency here, Virgo, to expect that you're going to get stabbed. And again, this is coming from a place within you that doesn't stand up for you or is unresolved in you. Okay, so you're pulling it to you because you haven't resolved it within yourself. And it looks like it comes from the outside, but really it's self-sabotage on a really serious plane. You know, the type of energy that takes a sword and stabs yourself with it. So be sure, it's really time to come to grips with that energy and let it go. And it's interesting that we drew Gemini at the same time, because this is like the antidote, the connection to divine love. And within that divine love, you also learn how to love yourself more completely. And so in this message, Gemini, and I'm crossing over Virgo, Gemini, you're asking for that deeper connection that really helps you feel connected to those around you, but invites you to open your heart out to those that you may not have opened your heart to in the past. And this goes perfectly with Virgo, because this is asking you to open your heart to yourself in a different way that you haven't in the past. Open your heart to that place in you that says, no, I want to be there for myself. I'm not going to let myself be treated this way. I'm not going to let myself have this happen. So it's healing through love on both of these. All right. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time.